Huge, are absolutely fascinating when you think about it. And we're in the middle of one now, aren't we? Let's be honest. It's all to do with, of course, Royal Lodge and His Majesty the King, King Charles III, and of course his younger brother, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. And it all settles upon really power, money, wealth, and really who has the clout to get rid of the other one. And when you think about it, in normal family circumstances, people say this wouldn't really go on. I disagree. When you think about it, many times you see people taking each other to court for wills of family members. There was one in the paper recently all about how apparently this particular son and sister had fallen out because apparently he felt that he should have been given more literally in the final will and testament. So are royals truly any different? But here's where it gets interesting for me, because the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, literally has sent someone out into the cold permanently. And when I tell you the inside track, perhaps you may understand. Let me explain. Hi, good to see you. You all right? Yes, not bad, thank you. Sarah Ferguson spent many years, of course, in the cold herself, cut off, estranged from the British monarchy, all thanks to, of course, the late Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, who had no time for her after all the scandals of the 80s and 90s. He thought it was deplorable what Sarah had done to the British monarchy, and the upset, of course, to our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. But now what's really emerged is this, because if you think about it, and this is where it gets very tricky when you do a memoir, and we're talking, of course, about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Once you put it down in writing, it's there to be dissected. Sarah Ferguson was on a book tour recently across America promoting her latest historical novel. And she was asked on a number of occasions, how well she knew Meghan. And, she said, well, not very well. This didn't go down very well, as one could imagine, with Meghan Markle. Now, this all really stems back from the fact that Prince Harry decided to write about Sarah and Meghan's alleged first meeting. Now, as we all know, Meghan had an alleged friendship with Princess Eugenie, even though she didn't know anything about the monarchy, which I always found odd. There's your good friend, and you don't say, oh, so your father, right? So he's the Duke of York, and he is the younger brother of the king, or in fact, the son, of course, of Queen Elizabeth. You don't think to ask that? You knew nothing? Pants on fire is what springs to mind, you know what I'm saying? But what was interesting in Harry's book is this. You see, he basically detailed apparently the very first meeting of meeting Her Majesty the Queen for Meghan, and how Sarah Ferguson, in very elaborate detail, showed Meghan exactly how to curtsy and all the sort of paraphernalia that would be attached for the very first meeting with our wonderful monarch. Now, this apparently is something of a shock to Sarah, because according to a very well-placed source, there's no recollection of this at all. And in fact, the very first meeting was brief and almost passing without really record. So where Prince Harry got this story really apparently remains something of a mystery. But it even escalates further, because as we now know, Meghan decided to let the world know all about her forthcoming tiny patter of feet on the wedding of one of Sarah's daughters, Princess Eugenie, if you remember. And when you think about it also, it's rather cruel and unkind to upstage somebody on that particular day. But apparently Meghan didn't realise she'd upstaged anybody. But now I can tell you 100% that basically she is null and void, all thanks to Sarah, the Duchess of York, all for Meghan and Harry. She's polite at best, and she was thrilled to be invited to the wedding, but of course she didn't know what was coming, and in particular the story of the very first meeting, the curtsy. But what really blew Sarah Ferguson's red hair upwards was none other than what she felt was a complete lack of disrespect to her daughter on such a wonderful royal occasion, one that should have just been celebrated and certainly not been deviated from by somebody else's public announcement. Meghan could possibly strike this one up once again as a, well, huge mistake. Neil Sean in the very heart of York.